Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode 22 of Tales of Escuria. We've been away for a little bit, but we're back now and ready to get back into the action. Just to say, as always, we are presented by and in association with Horsham Gamers. We are a local interest group who cover the whole range of gaming, through from tabletop and roleplay stuff like this, through board games, esports, competitive gaming, anything you can think of. If it's related to gaming or nerd culture, we're interested in it too, and we'd love to meet some of you. We have loads of events coming up with Horsham Gamers, both in person and via the interwebs. So if you go down to the social links that we have down at the bottom of the screen now, just search for Horsham Gamers on Twitter, Facebook, or Discord, and you'll find us, and we'd love to meet you. So, without further ado, let's get into episode number 22 of Tales of Escuria. So,
I think 22 was last time. I think this is 23.
I just changed it from 21 to 22, so I think it
I've
was...
got 22 written down. Oh, okay.
I don't know.
It's
I
only
don't know.
the other one offline.
Yeah, there was one that we did offline, so
Oh,
yeah.
that was
Numbers don't
21,
always
yeah.
match up. Anyway, episode 22,
Okay.
we're good.
Sorry.
No worries. I'd rather you correct me now than me go the entire episode. Right. So, we come back in on the interior of the ship that you guys have boarded, the Maril Cultressin, the Queen of the Storm. You are being led below decks by a woman who appears from the from kind of the pelvis up to be a female, though with green skin and slight scaling around her cheeks. But from the legs down, has a long snake-like tail. She is showing you down into the depths of the ship, down to where you guys will be staying and bunking up for the remainder of the journey. As you guys are going down through the ship, you can see one of the first decks that you come to is kind of a gunnery deck, where you can see there are various different cannons. It looks like there are 6 cannons on this ship, and you can see a rather kind of weedy-looking drow woman who appears to be in the middle of kind of repairing the side of one of these cannons. She appears to be in the middle of kind of hammering out a dent and inspecting it very, very closely. You can also see the female orc that you had met earlier is down there as well, shifting cannonballs from one side to the other. And the female drow kind of like looks up and gives a couple of hand signals, to which the orc continues to kind of like make hand signals back to them, and they seem to kind of have a back and forth like that for a little while. You then continue down through the go past the gunnery deck, down to another set of stairs, which lead down into the crew quarters. You can see that there are a few different portions to this where people have kind of rooms sectioned off with actual wooden walls, but the large section towards kind of the back of the ship is mainly just various different hammocks and netting. There are a couple of oil lanterns that have been hung up that are kind of very dimly lighting the interior for those of you who need more kind of light to be able to see. And as you are led to the very back of the ship, the woman kind of like makes a very sharp 180 and kind of like coils around, so that her tail is kind of resting under her, and comes to a stop. And she turns to you all and says, "This is where you will be staying. I trust
I bow and think,
that you will be respectful of the space."
Of course we will.
Good. Our
Did you say what
captain
happened?
is trusting. a good person. I am not. I will be keeping an eye on you. Good day. And then she proceeds to very, very speedily just kind of sliver around. Yes.
No, I was like.
Oh,
trying
you were
to-
doing like a salute. Okay.
Do we know what her name is?
She was introduced to you as Savar.
Savar.
Savaar.
So who's the captain? This woman or
No.
the orc?
No.
No, the captain was a she looked kind of elvish. In fact, make either a history or an arcana check.
All of us.
Who?
Ellen specifically.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Let me check. Story or arcana.
okay. There's something specific that kind of comes to mind about the specific look that she had. You're pretty sure that she is in fact not an elf in the normal sense. She is one of the Githzerai. An elf that comes from a different plane of existence.
Okay.
She hails from the astral sea. They are not particularly common, especially not outside of their own plane. There aren't very many of them to begin with. So it's probably the first one that you ever would have seen in person. But there's something specific about the fact that she has kind of like almost instead of having a nose, she kind of has like two slits. But apart from that, she has kind of like slightly yellowish skin and the usual elfin ears. So
It's like a scaly Voldemort.
a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, yeah, Voldemort was probably a Githzerai. But yeah, you're pretty sure that the captain was Githzerai rather than a normal elf. So yeah, you guys are kind of left to your own devices down in the hold of the Maralcal Tressin. The ship you sense starts to kind of move and cast off from port after about kind of 10 minutes or so. And for those of you who are used to sea journeys, you get the familiar beginnings of kind of slow rocking back and forth that gets kind of larger and larger and more lurching as it goes. And for those of you who haven't, actually, yeah, let's say, who here has been on a ship before?
I mean, Auditory has had some experience on a ship, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done, unfortunately.
I've been, I guess.
Okay.
I would have been.
In which case, just Kada then. Make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Constitution,
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Oh, okay, that's fine.
To begin with, you're just like, oh Jesus, what's this? You're like, this is not how land is supposed to. It's supposed to stay flat. Not supposed to do this. But a combination of having a fairly strong stomach and being quite nimble, you're able to kind of like right yourself, and you get your sea legs back like fairly quickly. Just kind of like, okay, getting used to this now.
Cool.
And for the rest of you, you're used to this.
Yeah, Kada. Funny thing, boats move. You might want to keep in mind that.
All right. Fine to be an arse about it. Jeez.
So yeah, you guys, at least for the meantime, have some time to unpack. There doesn't really seem to be anyone else down here in the crew quarters at this point. You're pretty much left to your own devices. What would you guys like to do?
I just wanted to ask: did the conversation between the Savar and the Orc? How are they talking? Would I have caught any of the hand signals?
Oh, the conversation was between a half orc and a drow woman, not Savar.
Oh, sorry, missed that.
No, it's alright. Make a intelligence check for me.
Oh lord. Where even is it? See, I'm so intelligent. I can't even find the button.
Okay. You get the sense from looking at this. This definitely isn't like this isn't like thieves' cant or any of the other kind of like
Oh, okay.
more like subtle languages you've seen before. But you're pretty sure it works in a similar way. It looks like just kind of a sign language type thing.
Okay.
But you don't get what the meaning of the specific signals were. Okay. If there isn't anything specific that you guys want to do, then we can kind of cut a little bit. Yeah.
Only quickly. As I'm unpacking, I take out my egg, and I give it a little sort of tender rub and make sure it's okay and look it over. And then I tell Snox to look after it for me, and I pop it in a little sort of like a pouch, but like with like soft stuff in there that I've just sort of like grasses and things. And he curls up and coils around it to keep it warm and just sort of stays there.
Mhm.
And I'm also just going to whisper to him, just listen in and tell me of anything when we're not around, and then I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Pretty much immediately once you finish talking to Snox, just kind of like looks at you with a kind of understanding look in its eyes, and then just kind of and like goes to sleep. But you can tell it's definitely still awake. It's just pretending.
He's a good boy.
The goodest of boys.
So yeah. After a little while, you see the orc from before comes down the stairway, and just kind of like leans up against one of the pillars and just says, "You all settled in?"
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Good.
all well and good.
Good to hear. Right, you want it up on deck. We're heading towards open waters. Be useful to have some of you patrolling up top, if not all. So, see you in a bit. And just kind of like hand over the shoulder, walks back up the stairs. A kind of like thumping, like you can sense that the stairs are creaking very much underneath the weight.
Okay. So, should we go up to the main deck? It would be good to have some sea air.
Yeah, might as well. It's not like we've got anything better to do.
I ready my brand new weapon and I head up deck.
I'll head up as well.
Yeah.
Me too.
When he said patrolling, was like walking around the deck or doing specific things.
That's all he said. Patrolling, like you would assume probably just walking around on the deck to like show people that there is security on this boat.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So as you guys are heading up the stairs, who do you think would go up the stairs first of the group of you?
I'm already halfway up
Not
there.
me. Not me.
All right.
I think I'd be maybe second.
I will.
Okay. Alessia, as you are walking up the stairs, roll for initiative, please.
Oh no.
Okay. 1 second. Great. Starting great. Fantastic.
Well, you're the tank.
Yeah.
Let me see. Has it shown up for me?
It's not showing
we
up for
haven't,
me
we
either.
haven't got any
hasn't.
characters on the board.
Oh,
that's
it's
why.
shown up now.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Sorry.
So you are very much taken off guard, and you panic for a second and start reaching for your weapon, and you look down because there's a vague kind of like weird three-legged shape that just kind of like barrels down the stairs towards you. But it takes a little while to realize that this thing doesn't actually mean you any harm, and it just kind of like runs down into the bottom of the deck and starts like running around, making a vaguely like kind of squelchy like panting noise.
Okay.
Ew.
Creepy.
What's that?
Can we tell what it is?
You can make a nature check.
I think
Sorry?
I might be good with nature check.
Nature.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, all of you can make a nature check
Okay.
just to
yeah.
see.
I got no idea.
Oh lord, I've got even less idea.
Why? Nature.
No one of us has any idea about what it is.
Ellen does.
And like,
the person
Okay.
with the least nature.
So everyone, like all of you, are just like, what
What the
is
hell?"
that? Except Ellen, you're just like, oh yeah, it's an otyug. I've seen these before. They're they're kind of common pets, but they're kind of weird. Basically, it looks like a weird kind of like, almost like a dog, except it has like 2 front legs and 1 back leg. It's got kind of like a rubbery grey texture to it. And like, instead of like where you'd normally see like a familiar dog face, it has kind of like this round like mouth full of teeth all pointing into the center and 2 like beady eyes.
ugh.
And it's just kind of like hopping weirdly around this deck until it like lies down on like its side, just kind of like,
And I like lean down and try and like tickle its belly if it has a belly.
sure, make an animal handling check.
Oh goddamn!
Use 3 fingers.
Hey, sorry, what?
Okay, yeah, you reach down, and there's this brief moment when kind of like you first make contact with the belly where it looks like it's going to try and like snap towards your hand, but it kind of makes eye contact with you and just kind of like relaxes back down. It's just like,
Actually,
On its belly.
Yeah.
sorry?
I said that he looks happy to see us.
Yeah, he seems to be pretty chill. Like,
May I try and give it a cuddle?
sure, make an animal handling check.
Is it like hairy or it's like skin?
Hey.
It's not hairy. It feels, if you touch it, it's got like a weird kind of rubbery texture to it. It's unpleasant to touch.
It's
Oh.
like a seal, is it? Is it like a seal?
Yeah, that's what I think of.
Yeah,
Or
it's
like an octopus. But...
like if you try and stroke it, it's like your hand catches and goes like, like across it. It's like
okay,
not,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, Odie, when you reach down to touch it, it's just kind of like, instead of like just lying down, it immediately like gets up and tries to like climb up you as best it can, but with only 3 legs, it's kind of like, trying to climb up your
I
leg.
just happily pick it up and like give it a cuddle.
It makes what you assume is a happy noise.
Aww.
I carry on up the stairs.
You've got your socks.
Follow, yeah.
I follow Vixen and I tell you, you look like more fluffy than him, and I just
What, to me?
yeah.
I'm not sure how to take that, Ellen. I'll be honest.
Does it
What is
have a
it?
nose?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It's literally like eye, mouth.
Okay.
Yeah, you can all play with the ugly animal. It's all good.
Don't let him hear you say that. I'll like put my hands over his ears, or you know where his ears should be, and be like, "Don't let him hear you say that."
Okay. So, when you guys get back up to kind of the top deck, I'm assuming you're still carrying this creature with you.
God,
Yeah, I
really?
think
Yes.
Odie's got it.
Okay. When you get back up to the top deck, there's a particularly like very muscle bound human, who's in the middle of kind of he seems to be doing something to do with one of the sails. Something which the sailors amongst you would understand what it is, but I'm just gonna vaguely say it's something to do with he's pulling some rope and the sail is going in a direction, because I don't know sailing. I should have researched this. Anyway, but as he's in the middle of doing that, he kind of like turns around and he sees you holding him. It's just like, oh, that's where Stubby went. I've been looking for him all morning.
Oh,
He's taking a bit of a shining.
Yeah, he seems to like you. Has he tried to take any of your fingers off yet, or just kind of? Yeah.
No.
not
Oh
yet.
no, they've been really sweet. Don't worry.
Must be losing his touch in his old age. And he just kind of like attaches the rope down to like a little peg and kind of ties it around, and then like goes down. He's just like, "Come here, boy. Come on." And Stubby like jumps off or like jumps out of your arms and like kind of sprawls onto his side on the deck at first, and then scrambles back up and like runs up to him. He's just like, Oh, come here, boy. And, like, picks him up and, like, starts heading off towards another end of the deck and then turns back and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm Lorenzo. Good to meet you.
Odie's still crying inside. She's really sad. She loves animals.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Is there anything we can help you with?
I guess you're supposed to just kind of stand here and look tough. I mean, that's not a problem for you, is it? Yeah, that's the kind of thing. Anyway, I've got to get back down below decks. I'll see y'all around, okay?
See you around.
Later,
Alright.
Lorenzo.
See you later, Stubby.
Mhm.
Bye, Dobby. Oh no, my pen lid.
Okay. So you guys are on deck for a little while, and you get the sense after the first maybe hour or so that there's not very much for you to be doing on this ship. Like, the crew seem to work like a pretty well-oiled machine. Like, people are just kind of like handing off tasks from one to each other. You get the sense from a lot of them that they don't even really need to speak, to communicate. They just kind of like give each other a look and it's just like, yeah, alright, I'll go do that. Yeah, you can handle that. And the ship is moving very, very swiftly through the water. But as for you guys, apart from kind of walking up and down the length of the ship, doesn't seem to be much going on for a while.
Does anybody fancy a game of I Spy?
Yeah, go on.
Such
Yeah.
fond memories.
I Spy with my little eye, something beginning with S.
Sailors.
No,
The sea.
no,
Oh.
Sunshine. No, wait,
no.
not here.
Shit.
Yeah, not here, no.
I'm feeling really dumb right now.
Squishy.
No,
Ship.
no,
Stubby.
no,
This is steering wheel.
no.
Steering wheel.
The
Okay,
main
Odie
two
did
is
not
snakes.
ask that
I don't remember
question.
the name.
Odie would not ask that question.
She was.
Snox.
No.
What was the name of the whale snake? Woman?
Savar.
So no.
What?
Honestly, I
what
give
are you
up.
looking at? I feel like you're not looking.
I have no idea.
Where are you looking, Kada?
I can see it. That's the idea of I Spy.
Kader, I give up.
Can you just tell us?
Seriously, you guys suck.
I don't like not knowing things.
It was a sail.
Oh my god!
You guys are idiots.
We are probably.
Jesus.
Well, my first thought was maybe the sea, as that's all we can really see.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to make it that easy, was I?
Well done, Kader. I toss her 2 gold.
Thanks. I'm going to put it on my sheet.
I'm gonna take it off mine.
I only have 15.
Ah!
I don't like this game.
I
I don't like being
rubbish.
made to feel
any other
stupid.
sort of game.
Okay.
We try to do something else.
Each of you make a perception check for me, please.
Lordy lord. Perception. Oh god, I can't remember where
Spicy.
anything is. Oh. I suck.
Ellen's just rocking it today.
Odie
Yeah.
Ellen.
Yeah.
We
Save
are
all these rolls for the fight, Ellen.
That's really.
Why do you assume there's going to be a fight?
There's always a fight in it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ellen and Odie, you kind of notice this first, because it's quite subtle to begin with. Off towards what you seem to think is probably north, or kind of northeastish of where you are.
Mm-hmm.
There is a faint violet light in the sky.
Oh no.
Is there any mast we can climb or something like that?
No. It starts as in something you can climb up to.
Like a
Yeah.
crow's nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something you can climb up to.
Okay.
Can I be a bird and fly up?
Sure.
Cool.
But Isn't that your wait? Don't you only get one transformation a day?
I thought out of battle.
Like,
I think it's once a day.
it's at this level, I think it's twice a day.
Yeah, twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
But hang on, is that transform into something and then transform out?
No, it's
No.
you transform into
No,
something,
right.
transform back, transform into a different thing, transform back.
Right.
You know what? I'll save it. I'll save bird form for later.
Okay.
It went so well last time.
Can I climb to that thing and see if I can tell what's going on?
Sure. Make an athletics check for me, please.
I can do it if not.
Can I
Oh
be a-
boy!
God!
Hey!
What is
I
going
want
on?
to
God
be a
damn it,
hero.
Ellen.
Ellen's on a roll.
Elland in
Let's just
a
get Ellen to do all the rolls.
uncharacteristic show of athletic prowess, just suddenly like leaps up onto the side of this this mast, and not even necessarily using like the ropes and stuff, just kind of like up to the top and into a crow's nest.
I take it we can see what Ellen's doing.
Yeah.
Ellen, what the hell?
But I mean, what do you sound so surprised? I mean,
What are you even doing, you crazy person?
have you seen that? Am I pointing to the thing that's shining on the?
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
spy with my little eye something beginning with. It's a
Yeah.
very weird light. Maybe have a look.
Can I tell what it?
Yep.
Okay, so in the time that it's taken for Ellen to climb up and for all of you to kind of notice, instead of it being like a small kind of like point of light, you now notice that it seems to be spreading outwards.
Oh no.
And this point of light seems to be getting brighter, more vivid, and it seems to be spreading to the point where after about 5 or 10 seconds, the entire horizon is lit up with this kind of bright purple violet light.
Can I tell what it
Well,
is?
sugar
Can
doodle.
any of us tell what it is?
Make an
the
Arcana
human
check,
activation,
Vixen.
something like that.
Can we
Everyone
all
do
make an Arcana?
check.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. 19.
Boom.
Boom, boom, aka
Oh, Ellen, you're letting it down, man.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
did just pole vote to pretty much to a crow's nest.
I
Like,
spent
Yeah.
all my energy climbing that thing. Yeah.
you put that in a song.
Vixen and Odie, you both definitely know, like, this is definitely from a magical source. This is definitely some kind of extremely strong magic. For something to have what you can see to be such a wide kind of area of effect, you can imagine this is not anything that could be cast by just one person. That this spell must be being cast by either multiple extremely powerful people or must be some form of extremely powerful ritual.
Crap.
This light continues to grow brighter and brighter, and then suddenly disappears.
Okay.
I don't like that.
When it
was
disappears,
either.
there is a
Yeah,
brief
sure.
second, and then you hear the loudest bang you have ever heard in your lives, like eardrum rupturingly loud.
Like,
And the
touch
entire
my ears and
ship-
you're like, ow.
The entire ship rocks to the side for a second and just kind of like lurches in the water.
Wait, animal senses can't take that.
Can we
Where
ask
did you
the
say that it
crew,
came
like,
from?
what was that? Have you ever seen that before?
Who are you asking that?
To someone in the crew that is walking past by?
Okay. You can see that there's kind of like a scraggly looking human who's in the middle of kind of trying to hold on to the sails and trying to right the ship. And he's just like, I have no idea what that is. I've never seen that in my life. That is frankly terrifying.
What's in
Very
there? I mean,
reassuring.
what island is that?
Make
That's a question.
You said it was coming from the east, right?
northeast. Make a
Northeast.
survival check.
I'm asking him.
Oh, you asking him?
Yeah.
He kind of like tries to get his bearings. You can see him for a moment kind of like trying to figure out by looking at some of the geodes in the ceiling and being like, That looks to be coming from mainland House Korath.
Wow.
I'm glad we're not sailing there.
Korath.
Oh wait.
Look, I don't know what any of that is, and frankly, I don't want to go and investigate. So,
Neither do I.
Do I have anything I can use to like try and investigate it? Like, do I have anything?
I'm not sure. Let's have a look at your spell list, shall we?
Can I use Oh no, never mind. Like, how are we doing for sailing time? Like, getting past this thing? Are we sailing at a steady pace? Could we pick it up a bit? Is there
We're
enough
not
wind?
going past it. We're going to Emberdon, aren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are going like southeast. This was like northeast.
Mm.
Yeah,
What
we're not
kind of
going
spell are
towards it.
you looking for?
No, we're not.
I'm not sure. I'm just gonna have a quick look at your list because there might be something in there, but I don't know because I can't remember what spells you went for. So let's have a look. No, none of the spells that you have are going to be of any use for this kind of thing.
Oh, great.
But yeah, about kind of 15 seconds ish pass after the ship has kind of righted itself, and you can see the Captain Koram, kind of like comes bursting out of her quarters and just says, "What is this? What is happening? What are you doing with my ship?"
We weren't doing anything. There was a bright purple light, and then suddenly there was a flash, and then for some reason there was a big bang, and we think it's coming from land of Korath. Apparently.
Oh,
She said.
that's worrying.
Can we sail faster?
Why?
I mean, in general, it's worrying. House Korath has some pretty powerful magic, and that sounds kind of magic-y to me.
It's not the kind of magic I've experienced before. I've never seen this in my entire life.
Can we sail faster?
I think that might be a wise decision, yes. And you hear
Do
her...
you need some help with a breeze?
I mean, that could definitely help.
Okay, I'm casting this on the sails.
Oh shit! Everyone, hold on, Jesus.
Yeah. At this point, the ship picks up speed quite fast. And immediately you see some of the kind of deckhands are again struggling to kind of like rein it in to begin with. A couple of them who are holding onto ropes kind of skid along the deck a little bit, but then manage to like dig their feet in, and like in like a concerted effort, like 2 or 3 of them grab the same rope and in like lockstep kind of like back it into position. And
Hold your own, lads!
you can see like 2 of them just pay no attention. One of them looks at you, is just like, what? And you can see Koram immediately kind of like leaps up onto the higher portion of the deck where the wheel of the ship is, and goes to stand next to what looks to be a kind of half-elf woman who is in the middle of kind of like trying to steer it, and is just like, hold fast, Lara. Let's go full speed ahead. And you can see the woman kind of like nods and is just like, aye aye, Captain. And then begins to kind of like turn to try and catch as much of the speed of the gust of wind that you are producing as possible. And the ship begins to move probably about twice as fast as it was before.
Hey!
I'm
Do
just
we
gonna
think this
find
is-
like something sturdy and wrap my arm around it and sit down in a corner and just try and not go flying.
Do we think this is a good idea? I'd be worried about going headfirst into danger.
We're in
We're not
open
going
water.
towards it. It's fine.
We're going away from it.
Well, I mean, we're kind of going next to it, but whatever.
Yeah.
But faster.
Hang on. I will sketch the kind of route that you guys are taking.
Okay.
And I'll kind of mark as well where you think probably the kind of general direction of the explosion was from. So I think you guys are probably going to be going like this route on the map. and the explosion was like somewhere in like this general direction.
Hmm.
It's good. So we are getting away from it.
Yeah. Okay. So it takes you a little while as you're kind of moving through this, but with the Arcana checks that Vixen and Odie made, both of you begin to kind of taste something in kind of the air, and it takes a little while for you to kind of be like, what is that? And then you realize that it is it tastes kind of metallic, kind of like ozone. And then it kind of clicks in both of your heads kind of at about the same moment. This is a byproduct of extremely powerful conjuration spells.
Oh no. This is not good.
Still doesn't tell us what it is, though. Just that it's stupid
could it be
powerful. We already knew
conjuring?
it was stupid powerful.
Well,
now
we
we know
also
it
know that
tastes
it's a
Yeah.
conjuration
powerful.
spell.
Well, you were with them, right, Vixen? With House Gorith. Do you
So
know
we know
anything?
that something is coming.
Okay.
Do we know from the wind if there's any sense of direction it's coming from?
Apart from getting the sense that it's from the general, like, basically, since this whole thing took up most of the horizon, you can only get like a vague sense of direction from it.
Oh,
Instead of it being like, oh, it's like over there, it's kind of like it's not behind me, it's like this direction.
Can I do a history check to see if I've ever seen or know the taste or experienced any of this magic in
Sure.
the time that I was training?
Sure,
Okay.
give me a history check.
Can I do that as well?
Were you training in House Chorus?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is specific
sorry.
to her knowledge. You're fairly sure that something that's this large, this amount of conjuration, it wouldn't be conjuring a thing. It wouldn't be bringing forth like a being. It would probably be something more kind of changing a thing that already exists.
Oh no.
And
Okay,
it takes you a little while, but with a 22, you start to think through, okay, well, what could you do with that kind of spell? You're thinking through conjuration spells you know. You think this is a large level teleportation spell that happened.
Wow.
Yeah, but where to? Where did they teleport to or from?
Or from, yeah.
Who do we know that wields that much magic to be able to make a large teleportation spell? What would be large enough to teleport that big? So did they teleport a whole town?
Or an army?
But do we know if other houses have the same magic power to do like something similar?
Make a history
Did it in
check.
the war?
Specifically, you know, just like, I'm not going to make you do history checks for something that's like recent knowledge to you. You know that House Varin have been attacking House Korith, or were about to begin attacking House Korith.
So it could but is it Korith magic or is it Varin magic? I would know that much, right?
It's definitely not Varin magic, because Varin does not use magic. They
right, so it's Korith.
Yeah.
So is it going to be them transporting like an army or something?
Are
But
we
they
all
wouldn't
talking
need to
about this
transport.
together, or are we all just thinking about this in our heads as we're trying to survive against the wind?
I think
We're
we can talk
good
about it. It's
against
fine.
the wind.
Yeah.
We're all good. We're strong.
Okay.
I think we're just all just sort of discussing this with each other. Like I've relayed to you as you know, too much of what it is as that I know.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't seem logical to me that they would be transporting an army already there. They're transporting
Is it
something
already there?
big. Well, they're in Korith, yeah.
I
It's
have a
coming.
question.
Yeah,
there.
no, that's what I mean. But would they not?
But they might be leaving from
Yeah,
there.
it could be coming or going.
The fleet in Emberdale, the one that belonged to House Tidhouse, Uh, who were they fighting with? With House Baron?
That was the question. No one knew which side they were coming to support. They just knew that there was a fleet that was building up there.
Where was that? Sorry.
In Emberden, where you guys are heading.
Oh yeah, right. That's Tithos, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess being out of the way is probably the best thing right now, and we can just find out when we land. Like, maybe just speak to someone there and
I
see if they
guess
know
that-
anything. We're not the
And
only
that was
people that
kind
could
of the
have
plan, right? We decided to go to Emberden because that's where, if there's a fleet building there, there'll be lots of ships and sailors and stuff. We'll be able to get some news there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now we just have more to ask.
But from Emberden, do we think that they could have seen the light?
Make a survival check.
And it's like the purple's not gone.
I Have a Dream from that film is in our panto this year.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Good song. You get the sense, kind of, in terms of distance, they probably will have seen some of it. They're not likely to have got it as strong as you would have. They're a bit kind of further away than you are.
Okay.
Was that House Baron you were asking about?
From
No,
Emberden.
Emberden,
Oh,
yeah.
right. Sorry.
Okay. I think that, in my opinion, the thing is that if the fleet in Emberden wants to, we don't know who they want to fight with, and we don't know what happened in the light. Like if they moved something out of the House Corrith or inside House Corrith. So, well, we assume that it's out of there, right?
Can we tell, Cal? Let's just actually ask this
I
question.
think so, because
Can we tell if it's that they're moving something into House Kareth or putting something out of House Kareth?
according
No.
to Vixen, it should be no. Okay.
No. You know that, and only because you rolled real well on the Arcana check, you know it's a teleportation spell, which is by rights more than I think most people would be able to figure out from this. But the thing with teleportation is, it's the same effect on either end.
Okay.
If you brought something large to a place, or if you took something large from a place, it would have exactly the same magical effect.
So yeah, they could be shipping out an army.
So do
The
we
thing
know
is-
why?
Hang on. Like, we only saw one. Like, if that's the case, and you get the same reaction in both places, if they were taking something over to like House Varian or something, we would have seen it because they would have left one place and arrived at the
Not
other.
if we're looking at that one in particular. If we're watching that one only, we're not going to see the other one if it's behind us. They would open
Yeah,
and
but the
dispel at the same
reaction was
point.
so big that it rocked the ship. We would have
But-
heard it.
We were only looking at one. We would have heard them. Like say the other one was behind us. We wouldn't have seen or heard it because we're focused on the one in front. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But I don't imagine they'd be at exactly the same time, and it would have affected the ship. It would have rocked back dramatically the other way.
Teleportation does take time. It's not instantaneous, and basically, you can't even with the way that magic works, you cannot literally instantly go from one point to another. You still have to travel between. It's just
So we may yet see another one.
Yeah.
depending on how far they go.
Unless they were going up to like the Asher or something, because we probably won't see that from here.
Okay.
I love Cal's poker face. He's just like,
We're heading that way anyway.
Interesting. Okay. So the ship continues to move at the faster pace for quite a while. Even after kind of the wind dies down, the kind of momentum keeps going, and having this boost of speed going out of port helps you to kind of get into the deeper parts of the Escurian Sea, where the currents themselves can take over a lot more.
Got Wind Waker music going around in my head now.
So yeah. For the rest of basically that day, not very much happens. You guys keep your eyes out peeled on the horizon, trying to see if there's any more of any sign of a place where this teleportation spell might be going to, but you don't see anything. You don't hear anything. So nighttime comes, or an approximation of nighttime. You can see that various different deckhands are starting to kind of trade off positions. You get the sense that there's like a daytime crew and a nighttime crew to keep the ship moving during the nighttime. The nighttime crew seems to be a lot smaller. Rather than kind of having 5 or 6 people on the deck, it seems to be 2 or 3. And the ship seems to slow down as well during as you're approaching the night, and they hand over.
I just got kicked out of Roll 20, bear with.
Okay.
Should we do turns?
Yeah,
like,
I think we should.
Okay.
On sleeping. I can take the first one.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I'll take the second with Ellen.
Guess I'm on my own.
Okay.
We can rotate it. Like we can have 3, and I can come back up with you later.
This is something that I feel I should point out, because I realized I forgot about it entirely until now. Elland needs like half as much sleep as everyone else because he's an elf.
Okay.
So he can
come
actually
back up
do
with you
2 watches and still get a full amount of sleep.
Cool.
Okay, so I'll just go with Elland as well.
Okay, cool. So he gets first sleep and then does watch 2 and 3.
Yeah. So, same for you, Odie. You only need like 4 hours sleep.
Nice.
Oh God, wish I could do that.
Yeah, that'd be
How
so
we
good.
could do that in real life.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
The magic of D&D.
Wake up.
Yeah.
You need like 10 hours to function.
Yeah. Anyway,
And anyway, we don't really sleep, right? We like meditate, something like that.
you meditate. You
Yeah.
go into like you're not sleeping, but you're like inside your own brain to the point where you're basically like functionally asleep.
We've
Okay.
gone into our mind palace.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Have we gone back down to the deck at this point then?
Yeah, sure, if you'd like to.
No, only if it's
Probably
time
wise.
to do watches and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, so first watch, which was
Me and Alicia.
cool. So both of you make perception checks, or one can roll to give the other advantage. Up to you.
What did you say? Perception.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry. Yeah, but it's not working.
Yeah.
It's being slow.
Is roll 20 being roll 20 again?
What do you prefer? Give me advantage. What do you have?
15.
Oh!
Giving her advantage.
So, Alessia, I think a combination of having your new weapon that grants you like the dark vision, suddenly you're like, oh, this is what it's like when people can see stuff. You feel the most perceptive and on it you have ever been. You're just like, wow, the world, it exists further than 10 feet in front of me. Great. So yeah, as you're watching during this watch, there is for a little while, as the ship is kind of moving slowly and quite quietly through the water, you can see that there is faint kind of speckling of light underneath the surface of the water, like faint kind of blue, like occasional just kind of shines for a little second and then goes away. Shines for a second and then goes away in little kind of clusters. And the clusters seem to be static. It seems as though the boat is moving and they're staying put.
Do I know what it is?
Make a nature check or a history check, up to you.
Can I as well to see if I can?
What's the
You
other
can make a
one?
nature check, Kada.
nature
or history.
And you are horrible in both of them.
Where is nature? Oh. That's not too bad.
How does that happen? You have -1 and you still rolled higher than me.
Dice man,
20.
they do what they want. So, Kada, you're kind of looking at it and thinking like, I don't know, I've never seen anything like this. Like, you think it's probably some kind of plant, or maybe like an animal that kind of glows a bit, but you don't really know. Alessia, you think for a little bit longer on it, and a combination of being able to see it more clearly and your experience on the seas, you are pretty sure that this is crystal kelp. It's a plant which is quite common around different bits of the Escurian seas. It kind of toes the line between being a plant and an animal. Like, biologically it's a plant, but it seems to move and have kind of thoughts and act like an animal. Like, groups of it will kind of clump together. Occasionally with particularly small ships, it can attempt to try and sink them. But with a ship this large, it will not be able to do anything. It's just kind of like harmlessly like bumping against the side of the boat. And it gives off a kind of like nice, like shimmery light underneath the waves.
It looks pretty. I've missed this view.
Just looks as pretty as a handful of light rubies or something. Don't need to be on the sea to see that.
Okay. If there was anything that you guys wanted to say to each other or have a conversation, now would be a good time. Otherwise, we can move on to the next watch.
It's a good moment for a history, like moment or character development, but I'm not really into it now. Is there anything you would like to say? I can be really supportive.
I mean, not especially. Maybe we could like have a like not like a chat, but like a kind of small talk about like our backgrounds or something.
Yeah, like I can talk about my year sailing and how much I enjoyed it, and because there's an obscure part of my sailing back. Remember, I just remember the good part of like working on a merchant ship and traveling.
What were you, the muscle?
Yeah, but I'm so good at that.
Yeah.
Fighting. So many pirates.
I've never been on a ship before. I've been in Sakani for my whole life.
Wow. So are you up to see the world?
I guess. I'm not super fast, but I'll go where the gold is. Sounds like there's going to be a lot of it in Emberton, so few more sailors to beat a card, so on.
I think that's so far what we want to say to each other, don't we?
Yeah, I don't. There isn't much really. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You guys kind of.
Watch,
yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say before our watch, while they're having their watch, I'm asking Snox if anyone's been in the room, or if anything's gone.
Let me see. So Snox is not really able to communicate in that sense. He's not able to kind of like do very much, but he does kind of like look over towards the kind of section where there are closed kind of crew quarters, where there are actual kind of cubicles, and he kind of like looks over in that direction and then kind of looks back to you.
Can I determine what that means?
Make a animal handling check.
My animal handling is crap.
He's your animal.
Good animal handling.
Can I get advantage for him being my animal?
I mean, yeah, sure, but you wouldn't have needed it. Like, 14 was enough. You're pretty sure that, yes, people have been coming in and out, but specifically, he's trying to kind of point you in the direction of someone who is in one of those cubicles.
So, right now, as in they're in there now.
You're pretty sure, yeah.
And they're not supposed to be.
You don't get that much. You're just like, you said,
Okay.
was anyone around? And they're just like, someone over there.
I knock gently on the cubicle.
Please don't die before your shift.
Okay. There's no answer.
Is it possible they could be asleep?
It's
I guess not.
possible. It's nighttime. It's possible.
Yeah, it's really possible.
Anything's
All right.
possible in D&D. Anyway, continue.
I gently open the door and take a peek.
Okay. When you open the door, there's a couple of seconds, and then you hear, fuck off. And you can see Hawk kind of poke his head around, and he's just like, what do you want?
Nothing, Hawk. Just checking you were okay. Go back to sleep.
Yeah, I'm fine. And then you kind of like look behind him, and you can see that there's one of the kind of female deckhands also in that room. He's just like, I'm kind of gathering information. If
Oh yeah, sure, Hawk. Yeah, go for it.
all right. Have a good evening, Vixen. Unless you wanted to.
Oh, I'm going to go on watch soon. Otherwise, I would.
I'll probably be asleep by the time you get back. So,
Really? Gosh, not enough stamina for you, Hawk. Hey.
Oh dear.
I'm a tired boy. Okay. Look, we got a long time at sea. Come find me, all right? And then kind of closes the door.
Why was Snox like getting you to go and like burst in that?
It's basically Snox is a perv.
I mean, you asked him.
I pat his head and ruffle his little cheeks next to his scales.
Here's the thing. You asked him the question, did anyone come down here and have a look at the stuff? And he went, yeah, that guy over there. It was Hawk.
That's fair.
I pat him for being a good snack.
He kind of like wriggles down a bit and then continues kind of winding around the egg a little bit and settles down again.
I wasn't awake for any of this. I was just in.
I'm going to bed now.
Cool. So I'm assuming that Odie and Elland would take kind of the time of the first watch to be like meditating.
Yeah.
So around about the time that Kado and Alessia come down to kind of go to sleep, you guys are finishing your meditations and you are starting to wake up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my reaction. Of just a breath and then I'm ready.
Cool.
I'm stretching a bit. Is there any apple around?
Any
Something
apple?
like that?
Make an investigation check.
Some
I don't know if Steve Jobs is in this world.
some healthy breakfast.
Ha ha ha, you're so funny.
Okay. As you're kind of rummaging around, you can find what seems to be like some kind of fruit. It's not necessarily an apple. It looks like it's probably been in this crate for like about half a month at this point. But like it's still like okay.
Okay, yeah. If it looks okay, I can
Sounds
eat
super
it.
yummy.
That's like real life.
Yeah. It doesn't taste particularly fresh, but like it's fine. It's just a bit stale.
Okay. Where's Vixen now?
Yeah, I think Vixen was doing the second watch.
Okay, yeah. Because Vixen said that meanwhile you were like doing all these things, she was like, yeah, well,
Visiting
Having on
dwarves.
hot.
yeah, okay, but yeah, okay, yeah, let's go to the deck.
Well, who's going? Is it going to be me or Odie?
Wait, have you got any sleep? Because you need more sleep than Odie does.
Yeah, I mean, Odie and
I thought I was doing the
I
next.
ready. We can take like both.
Yeah,
both
that's the thing. Ellen and Odie can now just be up like continuously.
Okay, I'll sleep.
It might be worth it because we need a bit more sleep than they do, so we want to be well rested.
That's all good. My magic goes
Just
back up.
you and me, Ellen.
Yeah, the pointy ears team.
Okay. So
That's great.
We need to come up with a better team name.
Yeah, you do.
you guys head up to the deck, and all seems pretty quiet, especially compared to kind of the amount of ruckus and the amount of various different dealings that have been going on while you guys have been in and around yokai. It's quite peaceful, and it's nice to not have to be worried about that. So you guys make perception checks.
Oh, sugar.
Okay. So Odie, you're just kind of still trying to figure out what's going on now. You've been kind of in the same kind of routine for quite a while, and now everything's kind of changed. You're quite distracted. So even though you're trying your best to be like, I'm gonna look out and I'm gonna do things, you're a bit kind of like, bit away with the fairies for a bit.
Pun not intended.
Yeah. Ellen, as you're keeping an eye out, everything seems pretty quiet. Seas seem to be fairly calm, and you don't spot anyone else on the horizon. Pretty much the only sounds are kind of the creaking of the ship, the waves around you, and people kind of moving around the deck, taking care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Taking care of business.
Okay, so it's a calm night. Yeah. I just what's your attitude, Oli? I mean, in general, now.
What
is your
right
attitude?
now? What me
Yeah,
right
now.
now?
Cal said you are distracted, but how?
I think I'm just. I haven't experienced an atmosphere like this since home, and like since I left. Because even though I've been on a pirate ship for so long, you know, there's always like someone boozing or someone's having a brawl, or whereas here it's just it's quiet, and I haven't actually thought about home in a while.
What's your home? How does it look like?
It's just still. It's meant to be peaceful, but all my life, like living there, is nothing happened. I was always a little bit different. I always wanted to, you know, be adventurous and do all the weird things that the kids thought I was too bonkers to do. But one day I just decided, like some of my other friends, to just explore the world, and nothing has ever quite matched the oddly boring but peacefulness that I once had.
Yeah, the expectations. You never. It's better having them really low. in my experience, that's the way I do. You only get surprises this way. But at least now we're having a good time, right? It's been quite funny this trip.
Yeah, it's been quite unpredictable.
It's nice to having you here. We need. No, I'm trying to be polite. That's the word.
What?
Yeah, we've had some losses and gained some friends and lost them. And sometimes I ask myself what I'm really doing now. And I'm just, after saying that, I'm just turning around and going to the, how do you call the front part of the ship?
Bow?
Oh yeah, the
I
bow.
follow.
And yeah, I just, I'm
Amen,
just,
tip of the word.
yeah, I just do like this at the la barandilla. Well, yeah, in the wooden thing, and I just the night there.
Just what?
I just stay there. Like, if you want to talk, it's okay, but I will just stay there for the rest of the night.
I think
Where's
Ellen's
home
just
for
got
you?
shy.
No, not really. That's if that's the impression you got. That's not what I want to the impression I wanted to give.
It's fine. Where's home for you?
Well, it's weird. Being, do you know anything about uh, drow houses?
Would I know about drow houses?
Make a history check in general. Yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
Oh yeah. You studied up before you came here. You got all the guidebooks, and you were like,
I've got all the textbooks.
you read up. You know pretty much everything that you could know about drow houses without like actually experiencing them.
Okay. I'm gonna underplay my knowledge, being like,
Clever girl.
yeah, I know, I've heard stories.
Okay, wait a second. And I go down. I get my book, the family book.
Mhm.
I bring it upstairs again, and I show her like I'm this guy here, like pointing
Oh
at
my
the.
god.
Yeah. Oda, you see like what's basically like a very very complicated family tree of a bunch of different kind of ancestries, all of which are kind of leading back to this one central point. You recognize the kind of like portrait that's at the top of this page as being a portrait of Empress Arachne, who you know to be the person who founded the Escurian Empire thousands and thousands of years ago. And looking down all the different, you can see all of the different houses and their lineages. And way down in kind of like the bottom right hand corner, you can see Elland pointing at his own name.
Crikey.
So
You're a direct descendant of the Empress?
well, we could say that, but look at me. We don't look the same, right? We don't feel the same.
What made you leave?
What?
What made you leave?
Well, I was born in Snow Harbor, and I spent my childhood there. But then we moved the whole family to Sekani to be part of the, bureaucracy and all the important noble houses. But they impose you their ways, and I mean, it feels the opposite like you. You miss your home. I hated my home, so I think that I just live.
I didn't miss my home.
Well, but you said you were better there, right? At least it was more peaceful than.
Doesn't mean I liked it. Why do you think I left?
I don't know, to discover the world. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons to live.
Yeah, I just got tired of the same old thing. And I've ended up here.
Well, it's yeah. I guess we're similar. I also got tired of all the, the stiffness of the old ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice conversation, and I just like bye.
I
mean, this like cutting this conversation is because I don't want to talk about the family with a persona that I've met like last week.
That's fair.
Okay.
Odie
Actually,
respects that.
Odie, make an insight check.
An insight check.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You're finding it tough to get kind of a read on him. Like, you definitely know that, like, there is a lot more to say here and he doesn't want to say it right now, but you don't really know why. You're just kind of like, oh, okay. That's the end of the conversation, I guess.
He'll tell me in his own time.
So, Ellen, as you are kind of walking back, I'm assuming to probably go and put the family book back.
Mm-hmm.
As you're walking back towards there, you hear something that just kind of makes one of your ears just kind of like flick in a direction, just like,
Mm-hmm.
You hear the creaking of the ship, but it seems to be louder than it should be. Until you realise, as you kind of start looking off into the distance, using your superior dark vision, you can see just peeking into view another ship with no lights. And that's where we're going to go to break.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we're just going to take a quick break, and we'll be back soon. So stay around, guys, and we'll see you for the second half of tonight's episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Shaltosh Kelsila Trohulul Twin Yana Shaltosh Untensila Ibahali Ulul Kwala Shaltosh Kurtexila Shresulush Chazukuth when Lupluin Ninja Shiotos Aglust.
Okay, cool.
Hello, everybody, and we are back for part 2 of tonight's episode of Tales of Escuria. So yes, Ellen, you had just spotted, lumbering into view at the edge of your vision, the form of another ship with no light sources seemingly on board.
Okay, I'm assuming that we are being attacked because I'm an idiot. I'm casting this on my voice, and I like shout the loudest I can, like, Avast! Yeah, land lava!
What's wrong?
Oh my god!
Okay.
We are being attacked! Like,
Okay.
I want to wake up the most people.
Okay. Make a performance check with advantage.
I don't even know if I mean how does it that is written. I'm just copying like the sound of a random movie I remember.
Do they have movies in D&D?
Oh boy.
Oh no.
You still got a
Oh,
16 because it was advantage.
Yeah.
So immediately, like, you hear one of the guys on the deck be like, "What the?" And be like, "What? What are you doing? What?"
Come on, wake up, all your mates. We're being attacked.
What? We're being attacked? Where?
Yeah, a ship without lights over there.
And you see the guy kind of like trying to see it, and he reaches down to his side and picks out a spyglass, which appears to have a kind of like faintly purplish lens, and kind of puts it up to his eye, and he's just like, "Oh, yeah, yeah," and like runs down to the other end of the deck and starts like ringing a large bell. And you can hear, as soon as he does that, from up in the crow's nest, you also hear a bell start ringing, and down towards the bow of the ship, another bell starts ringing. And pretty soon you can hear the sounds of people kind of starting to stir downstairs, including the rest of the party.
What is that noise?
Like, well, okay, I'm gonna like get up to the deck and be like, "What's going on?" Because to be honest, I wasn't sleeping well anyway. Because being on a ship is weird, man.
Yeah. As you guys are kind of heading up, you can see the orc and the drow woman. Immediately, they seem to be in the midst of loading cannonballs. They're just like immediately like right in the middle of it. Literally at one point, the orc woman just like picks up a cannonball and like just chucks it over to the drow woman, who for her like feeble frame manages to catch it and be like, and then like shove it into a cannonball, into a cannon. Everyone else seems to be in the midst of kind of like scrambling to get to the deck. You see Lorenzo goes to a door, reaches down with keys and opens it up, and you can see the inside is just full of weaponry. And he's just like,
I run over and try and grab something.
Yeah, sure. There's basically like pretty much any kind of weaponry you'd want. It mainly seems to be like longer pole weaponry, designed for you to be able to kind of like reach across to another ship to try and attack someone. So yeah, what kind of thing are you looking for?
Am I going to be any good with any like spears or anything?
Let me see. I'm sure at least some of them are going to be like standard weapons, so you're probably going to be okay with some of them. Let me see.
Is there anything that I can use to attack from certain distance?
How big is the ship?
Which one? Oh, one or the other one?
The ship that you guys are on, give me a second, is let me see. In terms of width, it's about kind of 50 feet across. And in terms of length, it is of actual space that you can walk upon of the ship, it's about 120 feet long. Like it's not a humongous ship, but it's like it's a medium ship.
Too big for a magic circle.
So yeah, and in terms of weaponry that has kind of like a longer reach, Alessia, anything that's in that cupboard is going to be about the same length as your new weapon is anyway.
Okay.
So you're pretty well off with that. Let me see. What was I looking up? Spears. Spear's a simple weapon, so yeah, you could easily use like a spear, Kada, and wouldn't have any problem with it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll grab one of them then.
Okay. So yeah. You can see that Lorenzo is kind of like passing out weapons to various different members of the crew, most of which seem to be kind of like holding them. As actually, make a perception check, Kada.
Oh, sorry, I was in the process of finding a thing.
It's cool.
What did I get? Oh dear.
7. In kind of this rush, you're not focusing particularly. You're just like, give me a weapon, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys get up onto the deck, you can see people have kind of got themselves arrayed, all kind of like pointing in the direction of this oncoming ship. This seems to be coming like if the ship is heading like directly in this direction, it seems to be kind of heading in this kind of direction, almost like it's gonna cut you off at some point. Can everybody make a perception check for me, please?
Hey.
I was terrible.
Sorry, wrong.
Okay. So, Kada, you are the first to notice this. Everyone seems to be kind of like holding ready to kind of like attack, ready for something, but when the ship kind of comes more full into view, there's no one on the deck.
Oh.
That's weird.
So I'll like shout to the others and be like, "Hold fast! There's no one there."
At this
Hey.
point, yeah, continue, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, Odie. Oh, wait, go on. No, you're going to say at this point, if something springs out, I want to be ready.
No, continue.
Okay. Odie,
Mm-hmm.
you can turn into a bird, right?
Yeah.
I can fly.
Yeah.
Why don't we go over and check it out?
Yep, fine. Okay.
I might just, in the meantime as well, like run over to the captain, who I assume has come out to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And say we should probably change our course because we're going to collide.
She kind of like nods and says, "Yes, is a good point." And she, you see now the woman who had previously been steering the ship, seems to have been roused from her sleep and is back at the wheel, and she just goes, "Lara, bring us about 15 degrees, slow us down." And Lara just kind of, Captain. And you can the ship starts to kind of like lurch in such a way that it's almost like you're going to be going in parallel with the course of this ship, and slow down to the point where you're kind of like the ship is pulling in so that you're about kind of staying in parallel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to cast this at 3rd level and also cast it on Alicia as well, so we can both...
Do I need to cast a combat wild shape and or combat wild shape?
We're not in combat, so
That's what I'm thinking.
So I can fly now.
Yeah, you can fly.
Good. I can go.
Hang on.
You can fly, you can
You
fly.
that's really what I
said
was thinking, Harry.
you said at 3rd level you were casting it, Vixen.
Yeah.
To cast it on you and one other person requires 4th level.
Oh, and she can't fly.
Yeah.
Oh, above 3rd.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can fly. I can fly.
I'm sorry, Alicia.
You
can
cannot
jump.
fly.
Do I need to cast wild shape, Callum?
Yep. Easy enough.
Cool. Oh, well, I'd like to... Why is it not showing up? I'm clicking on it.
Don't click 100 times because then it'll try and post it 100 times.
Wild Shape is not technically a spell, so it won't come up with a spell card. It's just an
Yeah.
ability,
Okay, cool.
so don't worry about it.
I am a bird.
I'll only fly away.
Okay. So I'm assuming you're just casting it on yourself then, Vixen.
Yep. Okay. Just me and Odie are going over.
Cool.
Bye.
So, when you guys get onto the deck of this ship, you can see that, in fact, both of you make perception checks with advantage now that you're closer in.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And you already?
Sorry, what was the question?
Can you make a
Perception.
perception check?
Oh, sorry.
And use the stats of whatever the creature is that you've turned into?
I'll most likely be a raven. Hang on.
Okay. So we'll take that previous roll. Let me see. 23 minus 4. You rolled a 19, so you add whatever the perception of the raven is. So that's...
Okay. Let me just find a raven.
There's what you can find it. It's in the list because we can summon them. So
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got her own thing of... Yeah, it's in the familiars
okay.
list.
I haven't added it to my list though, so I've just had to search it. Where do I find perception?
you should be able to see it in the familiars list.
Yeah.
+3 perception.
+3. Okay, so it's a 22, not a 23, but it's still 22. Yeah. So yeah, both of you, once you get up close, can just immediately see that something went down on this ship, and recently. There is blood spilled upon the decks. You can see various different kinds of blood, both human, and you can tell kind of from the color of it. Like you can see that there's orc. There's probably various different kind of elfish blood on this ship. Yes.
Can I see any bodies?
No, you cannot. And yes, Robin.
Can you show us where on the map we are and what direction this ship has come from?
Okay. So you guys are. Let me see. Zoom in a little bit so I can do this better. You guys are probably around about. If it will do it. Oh, I've got the wrong things. You guys are around about here.
Okay.
And it appears to be coming from kind of. Let me see. Let me get a different color for this one. To be coming from kind of this direction.
Okay.
Okay.
So from the big blast, great.
Vaguely.
Well, no, because yeah. Because if that was in the northeast, and if the ship is sailing directly south, I feel like it looks like it's come more from Redfort or something.
No, that could have been either.
Yeah, could.
Okay, Odie,
Yeah.
fly back and get them to board the ship because we need to check this out.
Yeah. Okay, on my way. Fly, fly, fly.
Okay. It's pretty quick to get back over to the other ship. It's like maybe 30 seconds of flight away.
Yeah.
As she's flying off, I'm like, also tell the captain!
That means I will.
So you're alone in a cursed ship now.
Alone! Oh, shit!
Spooky.
Yeah, I don't know if you...
Give Cal ideas!
I don't know if Vixen thought about that properly. Now she's on her own on a ghost ship.
She'll be fine.
Interesting.
Oh no.
What have you done, Gary?
So yeah, Odie, get back to the other ship pretty quickly.
Yeah. So you need to board this ship and look up what's going on.
Who are you
Presumably
telling this
turn
to?
back into a human?
Yeah, no, I'm just squawking as a raven. Now I'm gonna change back, and then I tell our group first. Like I'm gonna go. We need to have a look at the ship together, and then I go to the captain and I tell her, look, we've just been there. There's a lot. We need you to come on the ship.
Board the ship.
You want me to risk my own crew to go on board this ship? Is that what you're telling me?
Allow us to board the ship.
Please allow us to board the ship.
And don't leave without us.
And don't
Okay.
leave without us.
Okay. If you want to go and investigate yourselves as the security detail, this would very much be in your area to deal with. So feel free. We'll keep the ship running alongside, and we'll try and hold it here for as long as possible. I will assume if you do not come back for several hours, then you have probably expired, and we should probably run. So
That is fair enough. We'll try and
Yeah.
get back before then.
That's fair.
yes, that would be nice. I would like to keep hold of my security detail for more than 24 hours.
That makes sense.
I'd like to live more than 24 hours on a boat. That would be nice.
Good, then we're in an agreement.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's go.
While this is going on, can I identify anything that's sort of around? Can I...
What specific kind of things are you looking for?
Anything that might tell me what happened and why there's so much blood and where the bodies may have gone.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Okay, it's really terrible. I apologize. It's really terrible. I apologize.
Hey, it could have been a lot worse.
We've had worse rolls.
We have.
Yeah, it's just mayhem. Like, looking around, you can see that there's like all kinds of bad on the deck of this ship. There is one thing that you do notice though, which is that there are still like crates and goods on the deck of this ship, and they're still here. You loot them.
Yep.
All right. You get. Give me a second.
Well, while she's in the process of like rooting through all the boxes, I feel like we can climb over to the ship and be like, Vixen, what the fuck, man?
You get about 15 gold's worth of just kind of like assorted trinkets. Most of what seems to be on the deck of this ship is food. You assume either food stores for the journey or food to trade.
Ooh.
Are there any amp?
For Ellen.
But yeah, that's the best that you can do with the time that you spend trying to investigate before the others.
15 gold is good. I'm not going to quibble.
When we get there, can we all try to do an investigation? Like try to look around.
Yeah, see if we can see anything.
Sure. Either all of you can make an investigation check, or one person can roll to give a single person advantage.
I only have one investigation, so who has the best?
Yeah, like, has anyone got, like, we don't want to say specific numbers necessarily, but has anyone got, like, a higher investigation?
No, I don't think so.
I'm quite low as well.
No, I'm low.
I don't think you're an investigative bunch.
No, not particularly.
So,
Okay, I mean, I can roll and someone can try and give me advantage.
yeah. Are there anybody around? Or is it just...
That's not very good.
Okay, and you don't provide advantage, but it's fine anyway. Oh, are you all just doing separate ones then?
Oh, well, I saw Ellen's one and I thought I had to do it well.
No, it's alright. So, Kada, after doing kind of investigation as well, you don't get much more information than Vixen did. Again, you notice that there are lamps which are on the ship, but it seems as though there's still oil in them. They've just been deliberately like turned out at some point, but you can't tell when.
That looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But now we are here. Should we walk around and try to...
Okay, I just want to, like, let's make this a democracy. Can we just have a quick vote of everyone who actually wants to explore and maybe run into some horrible monsters, or shall we just get back on the other ship and go away?
Well,
I mean,
look at it this way.
it's more interesting to explore the ship.
Yeah, but I also don't want to die.
But what if there's something on this ship that could affect other ships? We don't want whatever is on this ship or whatever happened to the ship still being around to affect other people. It would be within our best interest to fix this problem.
Right.
As part of the security for the other ship.
Related to that purple light and the bang.
That's
well,
fine. As long as the majority wants to look around, that's fine. But I just thought I'd ask the question.
Kada, it's all right. I'm with you, girl.
Are there any bodies around?
No, none.
No.
No, we can't see any.
Just all blood.
Mm,
Not even a bone.
so, can it be that someone attacked this ship and then suddenly they saw us and they just threw everyone through the I don't know the name
The board.
Yeah, the board, and they are just hiding, waiting for us to. Okay, let's investigate the ship.
So let's be ready. If they jump out, we'll be ready for them.
Yeah, can I take my weapon out?
Yeah, easy enough.
I'm gonna get my dagger out.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my rapier out. I suggest if we're going to explore this ship, I suggest we all like back to back in a square and just be ready for shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I be in the middle?
Let's do this.
No, you bloody chicken.
Okay, so what? Are we heading down to the hole?
Yeah, I guess that's the only place to go from here, isn't it?
Let's go.
Okay. So you guys head down into the hold, and down below decks, this ship is considerably smaller than your one. Rather than having like 3 decks and cannons and stuff, that's just like deck, cargo hold, with like some hammocks for people to sleep in. Down underneath here, there's not much blood at all. There's kind of like a little bit on the steps, kind of like leading down, but you can't tell if that's necessarily dripped down from the deck above or if it was maybe someone attacked on the steps. But down in the hold itself, you can see that most of the cargo seems to be in an orderly fashion.
What's that?
So something killed them, but didn't take the cargo.
Can we investigate again? See what we can see.
Sure.
I mean, with what we know, could we do an insight?
Not really. Insight is more social situations. This is not really a social situation.
No, I know.
Oh my god! I think that's
Come on,
the
Ellen,
best
we
roll
need you,
I've
man.
ever done.
Come on, Ellen.
The thing is that I don't want to investigate. I'm in the back, so
Okay.
I'm just behind Alessia.
If you're just going to be like, nope, don't want to, just going to nope out of this, that's fine.
Nope, nobody, nope.
Can I just flick him on the ear and be like, for God's sake, man up?
Okay.
Hold on. I've got a thing for that.
Have I still got it?
Ah!
Oh, no, I don't.
Ooh, a 23. Nice.
Oh, damn it. See, it worked!
Well.
Well.
Made him roll.
So, Kada.
Oh, I rolled the highest for a change. Yeah.
As you're kind of like scanning around looking at all of this, like I said, the cargo all seems to be in orderly fashion. Except
Oh no.
off in a corner, near kind of the back of the cargo hold, you can see what seems to be a large number of apples that seem to just be kind of freely out in the middle of the floor.
Nope.
Somebody grab Ellen.
No. Ellen, don't you dare
I vote that we set fire to the apples.
set fire to the
I
apples.
vote that we detect magic.
All right, yeah, do that.
Okay.
I've got
I
the
vote that
spell
we.
for produce flame, so I'm fine with that.
Does anyone has like a knife or something to the apples?
Yeah, I do. Let's
Yeah,
detect magic first, and
Okay.
then I'll throw something at him.
Apart from a small amount from your own like compatriots and your own magical items, nothing.
Oh,
Can I detect
no.
poison and disease?
Sorry?
Can I detect poison and disease?
If you have that spell, then yes.
I have all the spells.
You're just gonna use up all your spells.
Yeah, no, I should save it in case there's a fight. Alright, well, they're not magical. Ellen, do you want to try one? See if it is poison?
I want to throw a knife at.
No. Okay, let's grab an apple, use one of our knives to cut it in half.
I'm.
I'm voting that we don't go anywhere near it until we know it's just a pile of apples.
I mean,
No, it's not magical.
the pile is
That doesn't mean there's not
big
something in
enough
it.
to be someone being in under the apples.
It's
there
not like a
anything-
pile. It's like as the ship kind of rocks from side to side, you can see like
Okay.
a bunch of apples like roll from one side and then like roll
Oh, I
back to
see.
the other.
Okay, so it's one-on-one.
Wow.
Someone's hiding on a box full of apples. And
So it's not covering someone up, basically.
No.
But they're out of the
Okay.
box, which means Ellen's right. There could be someone hiding in a box full of apples.
Vixen, can you smell if the smell of apples from any box?
I can if I Hulk out. Okay, I Hulk out.
Okay then. Make a perception check with advantage.
Hey,
Okay.
that's better.
You immediately are like, okay, there, that box there.
Got it.
Oh my god, someone is in here.
What would you guys
Yeah,
like to do?
Can you detect if there's someone in it, or can you just smell the apples?
I can smell that there's someone in there. I just walk up and open the box.
Okay.
Vixen!
When you do so, you see cowering, surrounded by lots and lots of apples and some half-eaten apple cores. There's a guy who's just like,
It's
Don't
okay.
attack him, I
Relax.
swear.
We're not here to hurt you. We're here to find out what happened. Are you okay?
and you see him kind of like, he starts like gesturing, but he doesn't say anything.
We have another ship that you'll be safe on. Would you like to go on it now?
Let's not offer that yet. We don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah, I agree.
He's definitely, he seems to be like just panicking. Like he seems
Yeah, I
like
would
he's
say-
scrabbling for the lid, trying to like pull it back closed again, trying to like get it back off you.
Can he understand
mean-
us? Like, can he speak our language?
Make a insight check.
I'm going to do that too, seeing as I'm right next to him.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
He understands your language.
Okay.
Okay, I've got it. I've got it. No, wait. Hold
Can
on.
he speak?
Hold
Don't
on.
waste any
Hold
more
on.
spells. Come on.
It's a good spell, though.
Yeah, but you're gonna waste
Vixen, we
all
can't
your
waste
slots.
them.
It's a truth spell.
Well, just like before that, let me try and persuade him to talk to us.
All right.
Rather than,
Because
you
that
know,
doesn't
bring out
cost
your
me a
knife.
spell slot.
I mean, I'm sure that Keida can make him talk, right?
All right, intimidate the little son of a bitch.
No,
No,
Can we not
I
go
was-
into anything negative first?
I'm not going to. I'm going to persuade him. I just said this. Jesus.
No, I
Shut
meant
up and
about...
listen to what I'm saying. Oh dear. I'm not going to persuade him.
Okay, what do you say to him?
What do I say to him? I kind of grab the lid and kind of take it off him gently and put it down and just be like, it's okay. We're not going to hurt you.
Okay, make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh, fucking Jesus.
Oh,
Oh,
Your
no.
initiative.
Oh, that one.
That is shocking.
What is wrong with my dice today?
Okay.
Man.
You take 0 points of bludgeoning damage as this guy tries to like punch you, and he does hit you, but it doesn't do anything.
Thank God for that.
He's just
now
like,
you intimidate him. Now do an intimidation.
Okay, yeah, now I'll intimidate him.
He can't
Can
hurt you.
Can I intimidate him with advantage because he done fucked up his punch?
yeah, all right. Also, he's just scared out of his mind anyway.
There is that. Hey!
Yes.
Okay, what do you say?
Dude, if you don't start talking, there's gonna be trouble!
He just kind of like puts his hand up, and he's just like, make a perception check, Kada.
Oh, he really can't speak.
Has he not got a
Something's
tongue?
happened.
Is that what it is?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think someone.
He
got
has
out
no
of that.
tongue.
There we go. Okay.
Oh no. Is there a way we can read minds? Or is there anything?
No. Has anyone got a pen and paper?
I do.
I've got pen and paper.
Like in game. I mean.
Okay, so
Oh,
Cal,
sorry.
I do have a spell, but it would be up to you if it worked this way. Generally, it wouldn't technically work this way. but due to the situation, you might want to be a really nice DM.
Just get on with it. What is it?
Why would
I've
I
got-
ever? Anyway, continue.
I've got the spell tongues.
What is that?
It basically any creature just understands your language and can talk any language, la 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 la. But I thought using this magic in this way might give him a tongue for a small amount of time.
But wait a second. If he speaks any sort of sign language, that's a language. So he might.
I think they've only
but do any of
recently
us
just had his
speak
tongue
sign
cut.
language?
From the look of it, it looks like this is healed over. Like, it looks like he hasn't had a tongue for a very long time.
Oh no.
Okay, in that case, can I I don't know any sign language. Can I try some thieves' cant and see if he understands that?
Sure. When you try to do like some thieves' cant, like he kind of like fumblingly like responds. You get the sense that like he's probably picked up like a little bit, but it's probably not his like primary means of communicating.
Have we got a pen and paper?
Do we? Well, I just asked that. Is there a way that I can sign in thieves' cant? Obviously, like friend or something.
What if
Yeah,
we
sure.
use,
And will he understand that?
When you sign friend, he just like repeatedly signs like friend, friend, friend back at you, and he's got like.
Oh,
Okay.
we have to help him.
Can we try and get him out of the box? Try and lift him out.
Yeah, with the like.
I can do it.
Yeah, with
Well,
this
I
now
don't
that he's
wanna
like.
force him out of the box. So.
Now that he's like able to communicate, at least basically, he seems to have like calmed down a lot. He's stopped like struggling.
Mhm.
This is definitely something we could have used Eminora for.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone? Yeah. Does anyone have a pen and paper or no sign language or?
Let
I
me
have
have
pen
a
and
gander
paper,
at my
but-
item.
I
What,
don't
sorry?
have any pen and paper.
No, I don't either.
I mean, I have an explorer's pack.
I mean, I have pen and paper on the other ship.
Why can't we? Can I just take him, put him on my lead and just to the other?
That might be a bit threatening. I might scare him.
And
Well,
I also we still don't know. No, but
to save him, it's okay.
we
Yeah.
still don't know anything about him. He could have been the reason this whole cruise disappeared, and you want to take him onto our.
I just want to know what he
I mean,
has to say.
you got the insight from him, so
He was hiding a box. I doubt he had anything.
we can just tie him and. I
Yeah,
mean,
not even tie him.
Thought,
I don't think we need to tie him.
is Morse code a thing in this world?
Do you know it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I only know Druidic, Sylvan, and Undercommon, but I have a torch, so if any of us knew Morse code...
Not that I know of.
No. Maybe in the ship there's
Yeah,
someone that knows. Actually, in the ship, there's been we have seen some of them use signs.
That's
to
true.
communicate
Yeah.
between them. So maybe there's any chance to communicate with him. I mean, he looks okay, and we are strong enough to beat one drone. Is he a drone?
Well, no, because we don't know anything about him. He could be extremely powerful with magic or something.
Also, he could be lying.
If I was that captain, I would not be letting him on my we can't ask her to do that.
well, but that's not on our behalf. It's the captain.
Okay. I look at him and I ask if he knows where there's a pen and paper or any way that he can communicate with us.
He starts kind of like looking at you, and he's like. He's trying to figure out what you're saying. Like you can see, make an insight check actually, Vixen.
Ah.
Okay, yeah, you get this immediately. When you're speaking, he is not making eye contact. He is looking at your lips, and takes a little while afterwards, and then he's just like,
Oh, he's he's deaf.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
and he's just like, and he like points off towards one of the other crates. He like points towards it.
Hey, Odie, go to that crate and go get some paper and a pen.
Yep, I can do
Or
that.
quill. Paper and a quill.
And some ink.
And some ink, yeah.
Yeah, you open it up. It's like a crate full of biros.
Yeah.
No,
Fountain pens.
I
Fountain
love
pens are a
fountain
thing
pen.
in this. Anyway, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, inside there's like a large amount of paper and kind of like rolls that have been like tied up with twine, and there
Vials
seems
of
to be
ink?
some. Yeah, there's a few vials of ink that have been stacked up as well.
I'm gonna pinch a few of those for later.
Yeah, can I take some paper and a pen
Yeah.
and a
Yeah, easy
thing?
enough.
Okay. So we pass him the pen and the ink and the paper, and we ask him, tell us everything that happened.
The
Okay.
question is, can he write?
He
might be
We're about to
illiterate.
find out.
you can see he's kind of like trying to figure out what to do, and eventually you see he draws a diagram of the ship, and he kind of points at that, and then he draws like a few like rudimentary like stick figures on the deck, and then he kind of like tears that section off and starts another one and shows like the stick figures like jumping off the side of the ship.
Oh, God.
And there is one which is standing on the deck of the ship that he points to and then points to himself. And then he kind of like gestures and shows you kind of like, I moved across there, I came down, and I hid here. And
So they were jumping off
But
the
if
ship.
it was a madness, where's all the blood come from?
he then shows you he kind of tears off another bit, and then he shows you a drawing of what looks like something that's vaguely humanoid, but it seems to have kind of sharp teeth,
Oh.
and you can't tell what the kind of like what he means by it, but it looks like it either has gills or wings or maybe both. And he kind of points
so
to
a nasty
that.
monster came up on the deck, killed people, and everyone just jumped.
Oh, can we do like a history check or something to see if we recognise this creature?
Yeah, make either a history or a nature check.
Ah, history. I don't know
Oh
what
boy.
this is.
History or nature?
I'll do nature. That's my better one.
So a couple of people know, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Vixen and OD, both of you pretty much at the same time, like, you try to kind of figure out from the kind of rudimentary drawing that he's given you what this creature is, and it takes you a little while. But after you kind of consider the possibilities, you realize that it definitely has gills. It's not wings. It's like it's got like flaps of skin to help it propel itself through the water. And when you make that connection, both of you pretty much at the same time know that this is something called a sahwagan.
Spell that, please.
I will type it out.
Okay.
These are aquatic creatures. They are roughly of human intelligence, but they are extremely aggressive. And they take you moving through what they consider to be their territory as like a personal affront, and they will just attack you. They are Vixen, with your kind of like history check, you know that they are basically like ancient enemies with the Triton, the Seaborn elves, and they have been fighting each other basically since the beginning of time. Yeah, they are bad news, and up until this point, you hadn't thought that there were any of them in Escuria, or if there had been, they'd been keeping themselves to themselves.
Right. I'm presuming Vixen tells us all this.
Can you ask him how long ago it happened?
Yeah, I'll pretty much just relay all this.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point he's like just kind of like sunk back down into this crate, and he's just kind of like looking up at all of you. Like, you can see there is like pretty like wide-eyed terror in his eyes.
I honestly believe this guy, and I think we should get him to the ship as quickly as possible and look and see if this thing's still on board.
Yeah, I agree.
Hang on
Yeah,
a second.
Robin?
Hang on. Can you try and ask him how long ago this all happened and they jumped and it appeared and so on?
He kind of like thinks for a second, and then he just puts up 3 fingers.
Is that days?
3 days ago.
It,
So
I
that
don't
creature can
think
still be
it's
around.
likely to be around anymore. If it happened 3 days ago and they've been sailing ever since, they could have come a really long way south in those
Is
3
there
days.
any reason why it may have come on the ship?
I guess if it was sailing through their land, well, water.
What was the ship doing? What was the crew's purpose?
He just kind of gestures at like all of this cargo.
Is there
There it is.
anything the ship was carrying that maybe they should not have been carrying? Anything secretive that not all the crew knew about that would have looked sketchy?
He looks kind of confused, and you it's not like kind of confused as to I don't understand your question, more kind of confused as to like I don't know how to answer that question.
May I
Can you
ask if we
point
could
that?
open the crate, see what's in there?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a better question.
Is there something in here, in the right now, or is it gone?
Again, he seems like he's confused as if he doesn't know how to answer your question.
What was
Where's
your
the
question?
captain's quarters?
He kind of
Yeah, on
points
the deck.
up to the deck.
Okay, I'm going to check out the captain's quarters. Who's coming with me?
I'll figure out what's in the crate.
Alicia, can you go with her? I'd rather stay with our friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Kada, if you're worried about trusting this guy, insight him.
I have good insight. I can look in as well.
Yeah, I don't have good insight. My wisdom is shocking. I am not a wise. Whatever I am.
Tiefling.
Shall I do that now?
Tiefling. No, don't worry at the moment, but.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay, well, me and Alicia are heading to the captain's quarters.
Vex and Alessia, you head up to the captain's quarters, and inside, it actually once you get to the door of it, it seems to be. At first, you think it's probably locked. But then after a while, you can see through kind of a smashed-in window. You can see that there was actually kind of like a chair like jammed under the door to try and like keep it in place. But the window, there's like a window next to it that's been smashed through.
Like
So
a window that's big enough for someone to get through, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I take my mace and I bash in the door. I'm not worried about being jumped at this point. I'm ready.
Okay. Make a strength check. Okay, yeah, easy enough. The door kind of it takes you a couple of hits just because the door itself is kind of jammed in place, but you manage to kind of like bash it to splinters enough, and the chair itself that's been kind of holding it in place falls away and then also gets kind of bashed a bit, enough so that you can walk inside. And inside you can see a series of papers that have been laid out. One of which has kind of ink spilled over a large amount of it. It looks like an ink bottle was kind of spilled and knocked over, and has gone across some of the pages. But some of them are still legible. And as you go to pick up some of those pages to have a look at it, that's where we're going to finish our session tonight. So thank you very much, guys. It's good to be back, and we're going to have some more fun with Adventures on the High Seas next time. So just to say, as always, we are presented by, in association with Horsham Gamers, a local group who cover the whole range of gaming, through from tabletop and roleplay stuff like this, through to esports, competitive gaming, anything you can think of. If it's related to gaming or nerd culture, we're interested in it too, and we would love to meet you at some of our future events. Check us out on all the social links down below. Just search for Horsham Gamers on Discord, Twitter, Facebook, and you'll be able to find us pretty easily. And we'd love to meet some more of you. We're a rapidly growing community, and there's probably something that you'll be interested in. So we'd love to see some of you there. Thank you very much to my wonderful players for playing, and thank you to any of you who are watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. Farewell.
Bye.